Welcome back to the 2020 Australian Open. In this video I'll be previewing the second men's semi-final that will take place tomorrow morning for me in the UK. Dominic Thiem, Alexander Zverev. At the start of last week, pre-tournament, I certainly wouldn't have predicted this semi-final. Obviously Daniil Medvedev and Rafael Nadal were the favourites to come through this quarter. Alexander Zverev, he didn't make any runs at Grand Slams last year. He hasn't been in fantastic form by any means. He struggled the ATP Cup, and I think even himself, he came to this tournament with no expectations of even reaching the second week. He said he wasn't playing well at all. If he could win a couple of matches, he'd be happy. But he's just turned up, and he has had a favourable draw up until the last 16 when he beat Andre Rublev. I think that was a real statement. Obviously Rublev came that one on a 12-match win streak. But Rublev didn't turn up in his best form. I think he did struggle physically in that match. Obviously, Zverev tires you out. He plays a lot of long rallies. He serves incredibly good. He's very difficult to break, and I think Rublev felt the effects of winning them two titles pre-Australian Open. But still, nevertheless, a very impressive win for Zverev over an informed opponent. And I think you could see that he just needed that confidence boost and victory, because his performance against Stan in the quarter-final was definitely no fluke. It was an incredible performance, physically and mentally. I think Stan, as Stan can, rhymes that actually, he blew him away in that first set, 6-1, and I think it's very difficult sometimes to come over that. Obviously, we know Wawrinka, when he's hitting the ball, he's absolutely relentless. He's arguably the fastest starter in the men's tour for me. Zverev didn't do a lot wrong in that first set, and I think he could have started doubting himself and tried to change it up too early, but he trusted in himself, which is good to see. He was just hitting the ball an inch or two short, maybe he's on the rally shot and allowing Stan to step into the court, and Stan took every opportunity, didn't miss, back on the forehand. And I think Zverev sat down at that change of ends after the first set and thought, let's just see how the second set goes. He can't keep playing at that. All I need to do from a Zverev point of view is change the pace up, really find the baseline on me rally shots, push him back, keep him on the run, serve well. And he'd done all that, and Stan didn't have an answer for him. I mean, the depth that Zverev found in them second, third and fourth sets, he was relentless on serve. He started to attack his own and bully Stan around the court. He really turned the tables in that one. And it was a very good comeback from Zverev, and he closed that match out easily. But when you consider the form that Wawrinka was in this tournament, then to claim a 4-set win and after that opening set was a massive statement of intent from Zverev, and it showed that he's capable of going far in this tournament, which he's proved to do. As for Dominic Thiem, it's a case of when, not if, for Dominic Thiem. I think that he starts beating this big three at Grand Slam events. I said pre-Nadal match that I fancied him to win, not basis on form really, but just on the basis that he's had so many opportunities and he was due a win against this big three. He's too good not to, and he's such a good move on hard courts. He's incredibly quick and efficient around these hard courts in Melbourne, and he's had an incredible week. He played very well against Monfils in the last 16. I think that's set him up for very well for the test of Nadal, and he played the performance of the tournament for me. I think it's the best performance I've seen this week from Thiem in that Nadal match. Just went toe-to-toe Rafa. Obviously Rafa came into this match on the back of winning the US Open, and Rafa didn't do anything wrong in that match. He just got out hit by someone who played the match of his life, and hopefully Thiem hasn't played peak too early, because if he plays at that sort of level against Zverev and against Djokovic in the final, then we could have two classics on our hands. But Thiem was just relentless in that match, just backhand, forehand, serving, took his breakpoint opportunities, and then it wasn't until the final set that he really started to doubt whether he could get over the line. He obviously served for that match and choked a little bit, serving a double fault and hitting a couple of unforced errors that were unlike him during the match, and then he missed an easy forehand on match point in the tie break. But I'm pleased he did get over the line that one, because he deserved it, and it would have been cruel from not to win after that performance. But we all know what sort of performance it takes to beat Rafa over 5 sets, so it shows you how well he did play in that one. But look ahead at this one, it's going to be an incredible match, I feel. Zverev has come to this tournament. I don't think he's played his best yet. Zverev, he has played very, very well, but I think there's more to come from some reason. He's serving at an unbelievably high percentage of first serves. He's constructing points well, and what I've been impressed about Zverev this week is his different tactics, how he's being the aggressor on serve. If he's had the short ball in return, he's used that to full effect. He's hit backhands and forehands into the corners and attacked the net with real aggression and authority, and closed out points within 3 or 4 shot rallies. But he's also got that ability on return to just be patient, be composed, just hit the ball deep and wait for errors, which is what he done very effectively against Stan. He can rally for 20 or 30 shots. Zverev, very fit, very unorthodox, got a great slice, great backhand, and he's got everything he'd want in an all-round tennis player. And as for Dominic Thiem, he needs to just do what he did against Rafa, simply hit through the ball, timed the ball incredibly well, hit the ball with power and precision and serve as he did against Rafa. He served a lot of first serves, a lot of unreturned serves in that match, and held easily by a number of service games which put Rafa in trouble. And I think a lot of this match is going to come down to who serves better. They're both that good in rallies that if a player doesn't serve well, a couple of double faults or a couple of missed first serves, then they're going to allow the opponents into them rallies, and that's at that point that's when they need to take advantage of each other's lapse in serve and try and craft break point opportunities and take them. Obviously, in terms of a tactical look for this one, what does Zverev need to do to beat Thiem? I think for Zverev, he can't just sit in the back foot and wait for the Thiem errors. It's too much of a risk. People have tried that against Thiem in the past, but once he's reached the semi-final stage now, for no fluke, he's reached a stage because he's hitting relentless and he's finding winners for fun. So for Zverev to sit from the back of the court and just chip returns and hope that Thiem doesn't time the ball well is too risky for me. I think Zverev needs to come further into the court, take time away from Thiem, keep him on the run, and probably target that forehand. I mean, it did look incredible against Nadal the other day until the final set. In the final set, it did just seem to losing a bit of form, but he really found it in the tie break, to be fair to him. But I do think if there's a vulnerability in Thiem's game, it's probably his forehand on the run. So that's for me, Zverev's just got to step into the court a little bit more tonight, be a little bit more aggressive. I think he was always the favourite to win them longer rallies against Stan, because Stan's less patient than Thiem, but Thiem can rally just as well as Zverev can, and I do think Thiem has the advantage in the power department, so it'd be risky for Zverev risking to hit that short ball and allowing Thiem to attack him. Zverev's been serving over 70% of first serves in this tournament too. They need to keep that up. He needs to keep Thiem off him. We know how good a returner Thiem is, and as I say, we know how good he is. When he gets into them service games, he really takes them by the scruff of the neck. He just goes through shots. He hits winners from all angles, and it's an incredibly risky game if you're not serving well against Dominic Thiem. You need to serve well and hold serve quite easily. As for Dominic Thiem, what does he need to do to beat Zverev? I think just take the ball on early. Zverev's he's got to the semi-final stage from rallying from deep, from sticking in points and from forcing errors. But I think if Thiem gets any short balls, any opportunities to come into the net and any chance to attack, to just go for it. That's why he got here. That's why he beat Rafa, by just fighting fire with fire. And if he can out-hit Rafa, then he can out-hit anybody in the world. And I think Thiem will do that tonight. I think he's full of confidence at the minute. Obviously, Rafa Nadal's forehand is one of the shots of the decade. Not many people like to take it on, yet alone target it. But Thiem's backhand was constantly going cross court to the Nadal backhand, and he wasn't fazed by that. He was confident that his backhand is better than Nadal's forehand, and that proved on the night, to be honest. I think Nadal's forehand wasn't average that night. He did hit some very good forehands, but I think Thiem definitely won that battle between forehand and backhand. And I think Thiem for night, he's just it's just a case of doing more of the same, but can he produce the level of performance that he produced against Rafa? I'm not so sure. It would. I mean, if he played at all the time, then he'd be multi-Grand Slam champion, and he's not. So it just shows he does lack a little bit of consistency. Thiem. But it is going to be some match. In terms of picking a prediction, I am going to edge towards Thiem in 4 or 5. You know, it could absolutely go the distance. I think Zverev will definitely win a set. You know, he's only lost 1 set this week, so he's playing incredibly well. But I just feel Thiem hits the heavier ball, and if Zverev's not quite on his you know, range from ball 1, Thiem's going to really attack that short ball, and you can't afford to be giving Thiem any opportunities to be the aggressor tonight. And I do feel like he's got no margin for error. Zverev, he really hasn't got any margin for error. Whereas Thiem, he can, as long as he hits the ball cleanly within, you know, a foot or two of the lines, then it's going to be incredibly hard for Zverev to ever gain initiative in many rallies. He just hits the ball so hard. Thiem, he's got incredible ground strokes. But you know, Zverev, he's kept defying the odds this tournament. He's reached the furthest he's ever got in a Grand Slam, reaching the semi-final of the Australian Open, and you know, it might be his year. He might just come onto the scene as some players have in the past and take the tournament by storm and register his first ever Grand Slam win, and his career might be made in this week. But Thiem, I just feel like it is sort of Thiem's time to get to a hardcore final. He's threatened for many years, but never quite delivered on the biggest stage. But I think that win over Rafa is probably his biggest win to date in his career, particularly away from the French Open. And now he goes in the semi-final with a huge opportunity. I know Sasha's played incredibly well this tournament, but you know, it's the first time for him as well. So they both fancy the chances. Both be equally as confident, which should make for a great match. I would say it's a 60-40 in Thiem's favour, just because he's beat Rafa and played like he did. But what a match it'll be. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy it, and hope they go for 5 hours, because I'm a Djokovic fan. Hope they go for 5 or 6 hours and then turn up 50% fit for Djokovic in the final. But yeah, it'll be a classic match, I think. Best of luck to both of them. My prediction finally is Thiem in, I'll go 4 sets. So thanks for watching again. Please like and subscribe, and I'll be back on tomorrow to review this match. Thanks again, and I'll see you tomorrow.